Welcome back, guys. In this lesson, we are going to start tackling the new input system. Okay, buckle up. Let's go. So let's open the window menu here. We are going to select Package Manager, okay? And select the Unity registry. We want to type input. Here we go. And by the way, quick thing before doing that, we are going to commit our changes. So we can write old input system working. Let's tackle the new one. Yay, let's go. Okay, let's now reduce this boy and install the input system. Once it's done, we can close the package manager and let's check if we don't have any error first. Okay, everything seems fine. To start using the new input system, there are two things we need to do first. We are going to select the event system, okay? And right here, you can notice that there is an error. You're using standalone input module, blah, blah, blah. So let's replace this with the input system UI input module. Here we go. That was actually straightforward. And this is going to be really useful later on when we will want to control our UI with our gamepad. Okay. The second thing we need to make sure of is inside of the project settings here, we want to select the input system package and create a settings asset. Here we go. It has been created. Perfect. We can actually drop this inside of its own folder. Maybe we can create a folder actually. Yeah. New input system. Here we go. Let's grab this settings file and open it. Here we go. Perfect. Then the last thing we need to do is actually open our player here. Okay. And inside of other settings, you want to go down until you find active input handling. So right now we are using the old input manager. We want to switch it to both. Okay. Or new, depends on what you want here. If you want to use both, select both. If you want to use new, select new. If you want to use both, select both. If you want to use new, select... Anyway, we're going to select both. Let's apply this and we will restart the Unity editor. After restarting the Unity editor, you're good to go. Okay, so let's clear our console, jump back to the inspector. And now what we want to do is create our input actions. So we are going to right click, select create, and at the bottom you can find input actions. Select it. Perfect. Let's call it input actions. We're not going to look for something odd or really far away from what it is. Perfect. All right, what we can do now is edit this asset and we are prompted with a new window. This is where we are going to set up all of our controls. So let's first create a new control scheme. Let's add a control scheme and call it control scheme. Here we go. Then we are going to create an action map. And this is what will hold all of our controls, okay? You can have multiple maps. You might have a map for controlling the player, another one for the UI, and you can enable, disable the maps whenever you want. In our case, we are simply going to create one map for now. Let's call it action map, actually. Again, I'm not going to go too far. The first action here will be used to move Dave. So we can actually rename it movement. Perfect. We still need to edit our movement. This is our action. Let's change its properties. It's not going to be a button. It's going to be a value. And the control type here will be a vector2. Remember, this is what we've used previously right here. Vector2 input.getAxis, horizontal and vertical. Okay. Let's jump back to Unity. And now we need to create a binding, so assign keys to control this vector2. If you try and create a binding right away, so let's select this one for instance, you can select a path to the keys you want to use. So let's say we want to listen for the keys ZQSD or WASD. Let's click on listen and press D. Nothing happens. Nothing for D nor for Z, Q, S or anything you want, because this should be a vector2 here. So what we need to do is create a new composite binding. So let's click on this one. Perfect. We can remove the previous one, by the way. This is going to be our 2D vector. So for the up value, we are going to select Z or W in this case. For the down value, we are going to listen for S, left, and so on. Okay, you get the point. So I'm just going to select this one and write same thing, D. We now have our WASD. Awesome, this is already pretty cool. Let's actually do the same thing for the arrow keys. So let's create a new composite binding. Perfect. Let's call it arrow keys. And we can rename this one WASD. Cool. So the up will be the up arrow, down arrow, left
arrow, and right arrow,
and we are good to go. Okay, so we now have WASD and the arrow keys. Perfect. Once this is done, in the next one, we are going to learn how we can use this action. See you in the next one. Welcome back, guys. In this lesson, we are going to control or move Dave using the new input system. So in the previous one, we've added our actions, right? Now let's close this and open our input manager. Perfect. Inside of the input manager, we will need to add a reference to our input actions. So let's do that right away. Inside of elements and write serialize field, private. I think it was input action asset, and let's call it actions. And we will definitely need to input or add the using Unity engine.input system library. Here we go. Now, if we go back to Unity, we should spot the actions here. So let's grab our input actions and drop them there. Perfect. We now have a way to access our movement action. So let's do just that. We are going to go back to our input manager and create a reference to our movement action. So let's create a new header for these because we will have multiple one of these later on. Let's call these input actions. Let's write private input action movement. Here we go. Inside of the start method or awake method, you decide, we can now reference our movement input action. So movement will be equals to actions dot find action. And inside of here, we need to set up a string. Our string is the name of our action. So movement. Perfect. We now have a way to access our movement. We're getting there. Don't worry. Now let's grab a vector2 from this movement right here. Instead of returning the old input system way, we are going to return movement.readValue of type vector2. Our movement is a vector2, remember? Dot nothing. That's actually everything we need here. So let's jump back to Unity and try this out. Okay, let's clear the console. We don't need to reference anything else, so let's hit play. All right, let's go, try and move, and it's not working. Why? Because we need one more step here. We need to enable our actions. So let's exit the play mode. Okay, let's go back to our script. And inside of the awake method, after referencing all of our actions, we can write actions.enable. Now let's jump back to Unity. Let's hit play. All right, let's try this out. Boom. Yeah, Dave is working, he's walking. Awesome. So now I'm controlling Dave with the arrow keys. Now I'm controlling him with the WASD, ZQSD. Come on, I'm on Azure here, I told you that. But yeah, it's working really well. But I can't control it with the mouse. If I want to control it with the mouse now, I haven't tried this out while making the course, so I'm going to improvise here. Let's open the input actions. How can I do that? I think I need to add a new binding. Okay, can I control it with the mouse? Delta position. Yeah, I might be able to use the position here. So let's try this out. Let's hit play and make sure you have checked autosave here so that it saves automatically. Okay, let's go. Okay, I'm able to control it with the mouse, but he's definitely too far. You see, I'm controlling it with the mouse, but yeah, it doesn't make sense. He's outside of the arena. It doesn't make any sense. Anyway, we're going to remove this. But I just wanted to show you that you can, if you want, you can. And it's actually way faster than using the old input system. And in the next one, I'm going to show you how you can control Dave with your Gamepad, if you have one. If you don't, you can purchase one or skip the following lessons. And it's going to be really simple. We are simply going to add a binding right here. See you there. Welcome back, guys. In this lesson, we are going to add controller support to our game. And it's gonna be so easy, I don't even know if I can call this a lesson. Anyway, let's first connect our controller. So for me, I'm using a DualShock 4 controller, so it's a PlayStation 4 controller, really simple. So what we're gonna do is plug our controller. So let's grab a cable and plug it. Okay, boom, joystick connected. Really cool. That's the first step. But to make sure that our joystick has been connected, we are going to open the window here, Analysis, Input Debugger. Perfect. At the top right here, you can notice all of the devices that are connected. So we've got the DualShock 4 gamepad, the keyboard, and the mouse. Let's double click on this boy to notice its changes or the inputs in real time. So right here, I'm going to try and move the left stick. Here it is. So let's try and move it. Okay, left, right, up, and bottom. This is really cool. So inside of here, you can notice all of your inputs in real time. You can notice the west button, north, south, and east. So in my case, these are the circle, triangle, square, and cross. Okay, same thing for the D-pad on the left. Awesome. So in our case, to control Dave, we are going to use the left stick. Okay, so let's try this out. We can exit the debugger here. We made sure that our device has been connected. I can actually unplug the cable and press on the PlayStation button. So it should, yeah, it has been connected again. Awesome. So now I can play wirelessly. Cool. Now let's open our input actions. Here we go. Inside of our movement action, we want to add a new binding. So let's add a binding. Let's select a path, listen to the left stick. And we want to select left stick gamepad so that it is compatible with Xbox controllers and other ones. You can actually have a look at the derived bindings right here. So Xbox controller, Android gamepad, and so on. Awesome. So now that this is done, we can simply reduce this one, hit play, and it should work right out of the box. So let's go, try and move Dave. Yay! So now I'm controlling with the with the gamepad. I think you can hear the tack, 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 right? I don't know how I can show you that because, yeah, I want you to hear it. Awesome. But with the right joystick, it's not working. Same thing for the D-pad. It's not working. Awesome. So this is really cool, but there is still another issue. If I hit pause, I can not move Dave, but if I jump back to the menu, I can move Dave even though I'm inside of the menu. This is really bad. So we should prevent Dave from moving if we are not in the game state. And this is what we're going to do in the next one. See you there.